there's so many like true crime documentaries now. This is just actually like a fun watch. You know, it's you jump in. It's an hour and 40 minutes of like nostalgia. You know, it's seeing a spot like you never thought people really lived there. We're at the Friday house. We're at the Goonies house. We're at all these different houses, and it was just fun to go to these houses. And I've peed in so many famous houses. I never knew.
Did you pee in the Home Alone house?
I didn't get to go into that one. So
they redid it recently.
Well, they just sold it. Yeah.
They redid the inside.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks beautiful.
They built a basketball court underground.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's apparently a thing in Chicago. Like these like rich suburbs. They
Underneath the house?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Brotherly Love Pod, everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Welcome back.
We have a very special guest in studio guest.
Documentary filmmaker, made some really cool films. He has this new film out called The House From Famous Houses. Tommy,
From movies. Famous houses from movies.
Famous houses from movies. That's right. Yes. Tommy Avallone.
Welcome.
In studio
Tommy,
with
thanks
us
for
today.
being here, buddy.
Welcome, Tommy.
We appreciate it. We're excited about this documentary, and we're excited to talk today.
Yeah, well, Brett Gursky is our producer.
Yes.
And he was trying to get you at the Miss Doubtfire house.
Gotcha.
It didn't work out because we didn't connect with the homeowners at the.
Got it.
Well, we talked to the people who were there when Robin passed, and they used the house as a memoriam.
Oh,
so
wow.
the movie's about people who live in famous houses.
For sure.
Cool.
I overheard you talking about the Uncle Buck house, and
Yeah.
we got to get into all of them.
Yeah,
because
we've been to like 20 different houses.
No way,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
No way. Well, I don't want to ruin the
And
movie.
there's
Avallone. Tommy Avallone. Are you Italian?
Yeah.
Yeah. Paisano. Okay.
Yeah, actually I'm from South Jersey. I always say I'm a
Amazing.
Philadelphia suburbs.
Yeah. Well, that's
There
where
you
that's where we're from.
Yeah, I used
obviously.
to work at WYSP and all
Oh,
that
really?
sort of radio stations. Yeah,
Oh
so
my
you-
gosh.
Yeah.
Very
How
cool.
how long have you been? You live out here in Los Angeles?
I
now?
lived for a little bit, but I'm back in Jersey.
You
Cool,
are
man.
back in Jersey. You
Yeah.
just come
Love
out
it.
here just for work.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
I'm doing a MySpace documentary tomorrow.
Are you really?
Yeah.
MySpace.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
God, dude.
That was like the
Dial
was
up
the
in
beginning of
MySpace.
it all.
Who is
Yeah.
that dude? Who's the dude?
Tom.
Tom. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Wow.
Truly the beginning of it all.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
the
Do you come
origin-
from a big family or just,
No.
no?
Just me.
You're
Wait,
Only
really?
child.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So
a
this
new
whole
one
bro-
for us.
This whole brother thing is unique to me.
Oh, it's yeah.
Welcome to the family, Tommy. Had noogies, everybody. We'll give him a little brother's initiation here.
Oh, jeez. Joe.
Wow, that's cool. So how did you get into this? How did you become passionate about like movie houses and famous houses and wanting to document them and kind of put them
So
on
cool.
forever kind of cement their legacy,
Well,
in
this
film.
This is my 5th documentary, but I've always, I think you guys will appreciate this. Like growing up in the area, the Rocky Steps are 15 minutes from me, and you're like,
Right.
oh, that's
course.
in a movie.
Of
I
course.
can go to a movie.
Absolutely.
Right.
And in my this town over in Audubon, I used to think the high school was the clock tower from Back to the Future.
Oh.
It just looked so much like it. And there was a J.C. Penney's near it.
Oh,
I was
really?
like, I was like, oh, this definitely had, but I was
gotta be.
wrong.
The
you know?
Twin Pines Mall.
Yeah,
wasn't that
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now
But yeah,
it's
it's
a
out
single
here.
pine. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
single pine now.
Oh, right, because they knocked one over.
Yeah.
Which is
It's
the
a
best
single-
like joke that I caught like 30 years later. You know.
Right. Anyway, but that so you had I love that
Yeah.
whole thing. They shot that actually on the back lot of Universal
Yeah.
Studios.
Yeah, you can see the clock tower.
When
there,
you
yeah.
go through the tour, the
Oh,
tram
yeah.
tour.
I don't know if it's there anymore, man. They've been redoing
because of
everything.
fire and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Well, they've
I
also
know.
just been redoing it because unfortunately it's 40 years ago. So
Wow.
Wouldn't that
you
be?
know,
It's
they're
so
starting-
iconic. That's
Do
so.
Yeah.
kids,
Kids-
do kids
I
still
guess
know
that
it?
would be like like the Psycho House is just becoming.
It's still there.
It
It's
is
still there. That
It
one's
was in
still
that
there.
scene. It was in that scene.
Yeah.
I know.
But
So-
no, I put 90% that the Back to the Future tower is still there because
I think so.
I feel like they were doing something where they had someone dressed like Doc Brown coming out.
Yeah. Marty, 14.21 gigawatts.
But yeah, but like just so I've always been interested in like living in New Jersey. Clerks came out, Mallrats came out.
Oh,
like
yeah.
we go to the Quick Stop RST Video.
Oh my God.
So it's always a thing. So like
Yeah.
like when I lived out here for a minute, I left a place that had real history,
Mhm.
like the Liberty Bell and Ben
Mhm.
Franklin's grave.
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff.
so true.
And then I'm
Came
like,
out
oh
here
wait.
for spray tans.
Well, it's the
and,
Wonder
yeah.
Years house and Nightmare on Elm Street. You're like, this
Yeah.
is the history I care about.
The
you
The
know?
Brady Bunch houses out here too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
There's a bunch of them
Hollywood.
out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, God, in South Pasadena, there's like a million different houses.
Wow.
The
The
Father
Father the
Bride
Bride
house
house, yeah,
out
in
here.
Pasadena.
Oh, yeah,
Well, speaking of Back to the Future, in Bushnell Avenue on South Pasadena, the whole block is famous. So you have like Biff's house from Back to the Future, and he kicks the ball on the roof in Back to the Future 2. That's Luke Wilson's house from Old School. Right next to it.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yes, it is.
Wait, really?
That is
Yeah.
that's so true. It just clicked for
Right?
me.
And then right
Wow.
next to that is Lorraine's house where he's peeping in there.
The peeping Tom, the tree.
In the same house.
They actually wrote on the cement. It's in the. Somebody carved it into like the curb.
Really?
Yes.
Because in reality, it's two different trees.
Right.
Like the way they shot it.
Wow.
But that Lorraine house is also the Teen Wolf house.
No way.
Yep. And then
What?
And then a couple houses down is George McFly's house, and then a couple houses down is the Ghost Dad house. So it's all on one block, and then 30-somethings right across the street. But yeah,
Wow.
That's rad.
It's really so Michael J. Fox was on that block
so much.
for Teen Wolf, and then literally a year later for I think he shot Teen Wolf
They
first.
tell-
I've been here
They
before.
say that story that they were making.
I think the same time, right?
They were, the same time they were
time.
making Back to the Future, and it was a much bigger budget movie maybe than Teen Wolf.
Yeah,
So
Teen Wolf was small.
Teen Wolf is great.
So I love
love
Teen Wolf,
Teen Wolf. Oh my
but just the
gosh,
crew,
amazing
the
movie.
crew
Yeah.
was like, there's the Back to the Future, there's the Spielberg flick or whatever, and then they replaced
Oh yeah.
Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz, and then like
Wow.
3 months later, Michael J. Fox, where they shot Teen Wolf, where they were looking at the crew, idolizing this massive crew. He then went from Teen Wolf to that set.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, he also was doing Family Ties at the same time.
Yeah.
He tells that story about how he was basically
Working- sleeping
he
2
didn't
hours a
sleep
night.
for
Yeah.
like 2 or
Isn't
3
that crazy,
years.
dude?
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
crazy.
geez, man.
And these
Michael J.
iconic
Fox.
things like double down, like all over and over and over. But that's what South Pasadena. There's one house in Altadena that has been like, to me, it was the house from Can't Hardly Wait, but
Oh.
but it was in American Pie, This Is Us, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, all these Criminal Minds, Ghost Whisperer. It's like a million different things. And the homeowner Liz just walks us through, and we're like, oh, that's from this, that's from that, that's from this. It's crazy.
And you've gone around and visited all these spots?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, how are the people that live there now? Because I heard from, we had Mara and Lisa on the show, and they were talking about how they went to the house, and the new owners
talking
were
about
not,
the Mrs. Doubtfire
house. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
the new owners were not too keen on
It's
having
tough.
people come over and like see, and they weren't really all that cool with it. So they were trying to change it and like kind of mask it so that people maybe didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, so the tree out front, which I don't believe the tree was there when you guys shot, but
Mm.
like, they just carve all this stuff, like R.I.P. Robin, all that sort of stuff. And then the homeowners at the time when he passed, like, there was all these like rocks that they would write on, and those owners saved those rocks,
Oh,
and
they
they
did?
just don't know what to do with it,
Oh,
But the
okay.
people now, they just want their privacy. It's tough. San Francisco gets the Full House, which is nonstop,
I'm
and then
sure.
Miss Doubtfire is like right down
Wow,
the
yeah,
street.
the Full House house.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. The same guy, by the way, I was just looking at watch something. This is kind of a tangent, but the guy who sang the theme song to Full House, he sang like
They're tearing down a house 3 blocks over. So
they're
that's,
tearing,
what you hear?
Speaking of houses,
yeah.
I
That's
don't think
literally-
anybody can see that. Sam, did we hear that?
No,
We're okay.
it's-
Sam says we're okay.
Okay, then we're okay.
Yeah,
Um,
Oz is spoken. We're
They're
okay.
literally tearing. As we talk about houses, they're tearing
Yeah.
this really old.
It looked like the Jumanji house.
yeah,
really?
brick
It was
house.
so cool.
Yeah, it
and
was really
dude,
cool.
I was like literally a scene from Jumanji.
Yeah.
I walked by it in this house that I've seen for 20
20
years. The whole brick face just goes
Yeah. Well,
right in
just
front of me.
just walking down on the street, I'm like, these all look so familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure you spend your life doing that. Wait a minute, where did that
Yeah.
that house looks familiar? If you watch it, it's so funny. Like some people watch movies for like quotes. Everybody takes something away from a movie, right? Like
Yeah.
for us, we're always quoting movies. So,
Yeah.
But I'm sure it must be interesting. And again, maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but to watch a movie for like locations. Do you find yourself watching movies going like
Maybe now.
studying
I'm sure you
houses?
didn't
Yeah.
originally.
No, I
but
didn't
yeah.
originally, but
Not
now
originally. I'm saying,
Like who like what
It's
like
his job.
strange
this is what it's like to
thing-
be brothers,
yeah,
right?
what's- What is strange
You're
quirk
not really
to be
missing
like
out on much.
a
honestly.
child watching a movie going, this location is like who sets out to do that?
Some people do that. I'm sure there.
I always and I've always done this. Whenever there's
Vegetation.
yes,
That's no, I'm serious.
Whenever
Like,
there's a-
that's not who I eat. I'm like, Matt, what are you talking about? He's like,
Whenever-
that's a maple palm.
no, whenever there's a shoot and
I
they're
don't think a
talking
maple
about the
palm's a
location
tree.
they're in, it's a dead giveaway if you know plants and animals and stuff because you look in the background
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, yeah, those don't grow where they're saying they're shooting this, so they're shooting it somewhere else.
Well, that's
So-
interesting. So if you watch Golden Girls and that house is not in Florida, it's in Brentwood. Like when you look at those flowers, do you feel Florida?
No.
Okay, because those flowers were like came in from Hawaii. Like this guy was like a huge plant guy and like decorated, and that's why they picked it because it felt
Smart.
like
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's what I would do too. But I guess for me it didn't because we shot next door to Golden Girls.
Yeah.
So that's why in my
Oh.
mind I'm like, this does not take place in Florida. But that's very smart to do that with the vegetation. I'm sure they must have done the backdrops too, because
Yeah.
the old sitcom stage used to have those big backdrops and
Seinfeld, remember the Seinfeld Street?
Oh
Is
yeah,
that-
that's still there.
CVS?
You're-
Oh, yeah,
that's
it's
still there.
It's still there.
New York Street.
Still there.
But so for me, it was I got a view behind the curtain, so
Yeah.
I always knew. But that's smart, and I would do the same if I was shooting something. I also hate too when they do like
Get that
jungle
fern out
stuff,
of here.
and it's like fake jungle plants you could see in the background. That just kills it for me. It takes
Well,
me out
you
of the
guys
movie.
being from the Philadelphia area, when you see the Boy Meets World house,
Oh,
do you
yeah.
go, well, that's definitely not Philadelphia?
Yeah, absolutely. Not filled up. And
Boy
the
Meets World
school,
takes
too.
place in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah. How weird is that? And
Not one
Check
person
out-
in that entire cast outside of you resembles Philly.
not at
No,
all.
not
But here's
one.
the best part. Ready? The show takes place in Philly. The lead actor, played by Ben Savage, his name is Corey Matthews,
Mm.
and his lead female Danielle her name is Topanga Lawrence.
Oh, wow.
So if you put the two last names of the two lead actors
Oh my gosh,
together,
that's funny.
it's Matthew Lawrence.
That's weird.
And
Love
it
that,
takes
didn't
place
you?
in
You
Philly.
love that, didn't you?
Well, that was the reason
And
why
I was on the show too.
I think that's why at the end of the day-
look at him. Look at him
when
glowing.
I did it, I was always like, wait a minute. I
was a
never
good
had the
show.
guts to ask. I was like,
It is
hey,
cool.
Michael, did you by any chance?
I'm sure he did.
Name
Michael
these-
James was
'Cause he-
obsessed with us.
'cause he
Let's just
talked-
be honest.
What?
No,
'cause
no, he
He
wasn't.
did talk about how he was driving down Ventura Boulevard trying to figure out a name for his lead female in this show.
That's what
and it was
Stallone did.
Topanga Boulevard.
Nice.
That's what
That's how he
Stallone
got
did
Topanga.
for Balboa.
Balboa. Yeah.
Same thing.
We lived on Balboa.
yeah,
so-
yeah.
But it is weird though. Yes, and the school is right
Yeah,
there in North
yeah.
Hollywood.
Mhm.
So yeah, and you
And
can
that school's
see-
been in everything.
It has right?
everything,
I know.
yeah.
It's so classic, and it has those big oak trees. However, the dead giveaway for me,
Yeah, oak trees.
they're California
California oaks.
oaks. They're not East Coast oaks. So
Well, when they did Halloween in South Pasadena, they had to like buy leaves and just like throw the leaves
Nice.
in the
that's right.
thing.
I'm
Right.
sure.
But with Boy Meets World in Philadelphia, like that I was always so connected to that show because being from that area,
Yeah.
my principal was my neighbor, and my best friend always got into trouble. I was
Oh
like,
my gosh!
so
So
I
you were
was like-
literally living it.
yeah. I didn't
That's
have a
funny.
Topanga, but like, you know.
That's funny. Yeah, that's
That's
great, man.
awesome, man. That's
Super
so
cool.
Oh,
So-
and to answer your question too, like, so when I watch the movies now, like,
Yeah.
I was rewatching Donnie Darko, and I was like, oh, that house looks familiar. And then I looked up the street, and I was like, oh, that's the same street as the house from Ferris Bueller. So then you start playing the game. It's not the same house, but it's on the same street. So you go, okay, well, that's in the 80s. Donnie Darko takes place in the 80s.
Mm.
Could these people have gone to school together? You know, Donnie's in private,
Wow.
Ferris is in public. They definitely had a party together, you know?
cool.
I love the lore of the universes, where they intersect.
The
Yeah,
Where
multiverse.
is the
cool.
Ferris Bueller house? Because I love that
Long
house.
Beach. Yeah.
Is it Long Beach?
Yeah.
Now that whole block when he runs through the neighborhood, is
Mhm.
that there?
It's got to be. Yeah. I mean, they shot a lot in
Wow.
Chicago. I mean, Cameron's house is in Chicago,
Interesting.
but Ferris's house is in Long Beach. Yeah.
Wait,
Isn't
really?
that
Yeah, yeah,
weird?
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Dun, dun,
insane.
dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Ow!
Yeah.
Ow!
Oh, he jumps over the fence.
Oh my God! Hey, how are you, Ferris Bueller? How you doing?
Oh,
How are
it's so
you?
great.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Dude, that is so
Amazing.
brilliant.
Amazing.
And then, like, remember all these years later, not too many years ago, they did that Super Bowl spot with the dude from Stranger Things, where they recreated that. Remember for like
Mhm.
Domino's
That's
Pizza?
right. That's
they
right.
recreated that,
That's right.
Wow.
and it was
Right.
brilliant,
That's
frame
very
by
cool.
frame. They
Yeah,
created
that's
that whole last sequence.
Yeah.
yeah,
Super cool.
yeah. I think it was the dude from Stranger Things. Yeah, it was right.
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. It was right, Sam. All
Sam
right,
doesn't
he
know. Who knows this
everything.
odd
What is he here
reference?
for if he doesn't know the answer to that?
To everything. Sam, if
he's
you
just-
don't know the answer to
Have we
everything.
said this? He's like when
The
in
human
in Wizard
Google.
of Oz when they pull back the
Yeah.
curtain. It's
Yeah, he's the human Google.
That's great.
He's just staring at the mind. He's just completely useless. Don't let him. He's still just, whoa, he's flatlined.
because he's doing everything over there.
He's doing
like,
it.
That's the thing.
I
He's
don't
doing
find
absolutely
this funny.
everything.
I don't find this funny. It's not funny. It's not
So the
funny.
Terminator house, Terminator 2 house.
Oh, that's Balboa.
Is it really?
I'm 50% on that one actually, because I remember that being that area.
Yeah, it definitely
Almost
is.
positive. Yeah.
Wow.
That's super cool. I'd like to go see that one. That one's
What, the Terminator 2
oh
house?
Yeah, it's
my
pretty cool.
gosh.
Yeah.
How's Wolfie?
So
great.
Yeah.
That's how he knew
I know.
that the Terminator had already gotten his step
Yeah.
parents, or whatever
I
they were,
know.
his foster parents.
Yeah.
Oh man! And then it cuts and she's got the blade through his
Yeah,
through
the
the
long-
guy's head
yeah,
with the
with the
milk.
milk.
I'll never
Oh,
forget that.
so
It's
good.
ingrained into my head. It's so
But-
cool.
A fun fact about Miss Doubtfire.
Okay.
So the person, I didn't talk to the person who lived there when they filmed, but the
Okay.
person who bought it afterwards, he, in the way he says it in the movie, is like he's a doctor, and he got I don't want to say the word famous, but his claim to fame was creating a surgery that changed boys' faces to girls' faces. That's the way he said it. So like he was into
Wow.
some sort of like a sex change operation with faces. And so he was like, well, when the Mess Doubtfire house is for sale, I need to buy that because the whole boy-girl scenario.
my-
That's so interesting.
Yeah, isn't that
goodness.
weird?
That is such a weird fact.
That's in the movie, yeah.
That's why he bought
yeah.
that
I
house.
mean, he's filthy rich, but like,
Right.
I wouldn't say filthy, but he's rich,
Right.
yeah.
Well, plastic surgery. That's a good way
And
to do
have,
it.
have invented something like that,
And then
a procedure.
invented a procedure. Wow, how weird is that to change a face? And he bought that. Of course, I'm sure he sees that. He's like, I got it. That's one of the biggest face changing movies of all time. I got to do it.
So his kid was
weird.
there and he's making fun of him the whole time. He's like, "Have you actually seen the movie?" He's like, "I've seen parts of it." Yeah, but like he just wanted that because he thought that was a funny thing to say.
Wow.
It is. I guess you have friends over. Like, yeah, and this is where they film Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's a little like feather in the cap story that you can tell people. I guess living in a famous home. I don't know where the Blossom home is. People have often asked me where the Blossom home is. I don't know where that is, but that was out here.
I used to know that.
Did
Yeah.
you really?
Yeah, because you start Googling all these things. You're like, because
Yeah.
like the great thing about this, well, at least for me, it was like it's really curated through the houses I wanted to go to. You know?
Right.
Outside of like
The
maybe-
house from this
Yeah.
one right here.
outside of maybe like Twilight, we went to Twilight, but it wasn't a movie that I ever really got really into. Or
Right.
Outsiders, I didn't know too much about. But Danny Boy O'Connor owns that house, so you got to go. But it was just checking out houses that I wanted to go to. And there was a couple that didn't get back to me, like Sopranos or Boy Meets World. But it was just fun to go to these houses, and I've peed in so many famous houses. I never knew.
Did you pee in the Home Alone house?
gonna
I didn't
say.
get to go into that one. So
They redid it recently. I
well,
saw.
they just sold it. Yeah, I
They
mean,
redid the inside.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
They built a basketball court underground.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's apparently a thing in Chicago. Like these rich suburbs. They
Underneath the house?
yeah.
The basement basketball.
Well, I guess 'cause
Can you
it's
get
so-
enough
I don't
space to
I
actually
assume
shoot?
So,
I
but
guess
like
it's
everything's
so
so
like a
cold.
25
Yeah.
foot. Oh, right.
Can't play basketball in ice storms.
That's true.
Have you seen some of the footage of Chicago in the winter? It
Yeah,
is like
very cold.
Chicago and Boston are.
looks like
are
Vikings should
very,
be
very
sailing
cold.
the
Yeah,
sea.
yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
But
So you just stood outside of that one and took pictures?
Yeah, so when someone like that, you can't not have the Home Alone house in there. But if they're
No.
not getting back to you, you go, okay, well, I'll talk to the neighbors. I'll talk
Yeah.
to the real estate agent who sold the house, and I'll talk to the people who lived there when it happened. And the neighbors have all this footage of Daniel Stern, Joe Pesci, Macaulay Culkin there. So it's this super grainy
Wow.
VHS sort of.
That's
footage.
so cool, though.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that all in here?
Yeah, yeah.
Love that.
I can't wait to see
It
it.
was fun. There's so many true crime documentaries now. This is just actually a fun watch. You know, it's you jump in. It's an hour and 40 minutes of nostalgia. It's seeing a spot you never thought people really lived there. We're at the Friday house. We're at the Goonies house. We're at all these different
Wow.
houses. And Jason Lee from My Name is Earl is our narrator.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Jason's
just-
great.
Yeah,
He's
we
great.
we wanted someone that felt like TV was either him or Daniel Stern.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
It's
Oh,
great,
God,
man.
Daniel Stern. Just
So
made-
is the Goonies house in Oregon?
Astoria,
Oh, Astoria. It is really
right next
all
to
there.
the Short Circuit house.
No.
No!
Yeah.
I love
Johnny
that
Five
movie.
Alive.
Johnny
Oh,
Five
I love
Alive.
that
You could
movie.
stay there. It's an Airbnb. A lot of these places
Really?
are Airbnbs now.
Wow.
That's
Is the
smart.
Goonies house an Airbnb?
Not yet, but I think he's working on it.
That would be-
that would be
epic.
really.
Oh,
I
my
heard the
gosh.
Scream House is an Airbnb.
yeah. That's a weird one. I don't think people actually live there. I think it's more of a you can do weddings or parties there. It's a sort of a big sort of
Ghostface.
vineyard house.
Hello, Sydney.
I know.
So
What's your
good.
I don't think I'd
Scary
want to stay at
movie.
that one.
Why do you
Well, they
keep
just put the
going?
Poltergeist house up for
Oh,
Airbnb.
no thanks. No.
Yeah, that one's a bad one.
Much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's a bad
I
one.
want to go stay at the Uncle Buck house.
Yeah, that's a really
Yeah.
really nice house.
It's a cool house.
Yeah,
I know.
It
I
looks
love
good,
that
looks
house.
great.
Yeah.
And that's a
and
cool
the
one.
Great Outdoors house.
Ooh.
Remember the cabin?
Yeah.
Remember that with the bear? And that was such a great movie.
Yeah,
it was a great movie.
We tried to build a John Hughes section, but it just didn't work out. But I'm just a huge John Hughes fan.
Oh,
Dude,
me
we
too.
all. I think
Yeah.
anybody that grew up in the 80s and 90s, you'd have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, John Hughes was just because we were just talking about this. He made such brilliant movies for young people that didn't underestimate the intellect of young people.
Yeah.
So they were movies for everybody.
And
Yeah,
plus, it's
totally.
it's such a way now. It's everyone judges everyone on their social media posts and all that sort of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And that's the way John Hughes looked at it. It's you're not just a jock. You're not just a freak. You're not just this.
Right.
You're more than anything. You're a well-rounded person. So,
Totally.
Yep.
yeah.
No, it
Totally.
was
I
awesome.
love that about Hughes.
Yeah, somebody who was it that said too that I love the observation that it was so neat growing up in the 80s, 90s because young people, their opinions were actually valued.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wisdom. They had wisdom.
They had wisdom.
They
So,
put wisdom in the young kids.
Well,
Yes.
so everybody learned
everybody
the
could
takeaway. There was a
relate
lot
to
of
it.
takeaway, and it was.
That's why Ferris was a very knowledgeable person. He made some very poignant facts. So did Cameron.
Yeah.
They each had really like profound things to say about life.
Yeah.
Breakfast Club, another great example. All of
Oh
them,
my God.
all of John Hughes movies. But that's what was so cool. Today, now it's like either like the dads are idiots or the kids are
Right.
idiots. Like they don't
Yeah.
know anything, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
or they know everything, which is
Yeah.
again not good because
No.
you don't know everything when you're a kid. You actually don't know much, you know.
And like they looked like normal kids.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I mean,
love
yes,
that.
they're still like good-looking individuals, but they
Yeah, but-
they looked like real people.
I know.
They did.
Yeah.
I know. Ferris is one of my favorite movies of all
Yeah.
time. I will always watch that movie when it's on. Where was the house? I don't know if you know this, but I'm a big car guy, right? So Cameron's house,
Mhm.
where they kept the
Oh.
Ferrari,
Well, that-
Chicago.
was that Chicago?
See, now that looked
Because
like
the back
the
of
East
that
Coast.
was
Yeah.
genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he was kicking it, I
Oh
mean
my
that was
gosh.
just that whole that.
And did they
house.
actually trash that car?
That was a replica, but I think they did.
Replica?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think it was a replica. I mean,
Like
it
a-
wasn't
like
the
a
real
kit
one. But
car?
the real ones are $1 million plus
That's what I'm
cars.
saying. Yeah.
Alan Ruck. He's the best.
Oh, I know. He's so good. He'll just keep coming and coming and coming. I got him to take a stand.
I know. Oh, yeah. Oh,
With that perpetual noise
Oh,
as they're
so
trying to back
great.
up the miles.
He
recently,
gets closer and closer.
Oh my god! And then he goes. He stops.
And he just, he leans on it.
Oh
So
my
good.
god, dude!
So great.
One of his
What a great scene.
less finer moments. He recently just crashed his Rivian into a gas station.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Alan?
Yeah, going real fast.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow!
Oh, is he okay?
Yeah, he's okay.
Okay.
Wow! Wow! Was it on self-drive?
See, I told
I don't
you.
know.
You should have had one of those Rivians.
Yeah.
I always said it.
Should have had a Tesla.
Should have had a Tesla.
Yeah, the Rivians. Rivians are all right. I don't love Rivians. I don't love the front end of Rivians. Their eyes look like weird
They do
little
have interesting
robots.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm excited to, and I wanted to watch this before you were on, but now getting to know you, I'll even enjoy it more. You made a documentary a long time ago about Santa Claus and Santa Claus impersonators.
Yeah.
You got to tell me about that. That is so interesting.
Yeah,
to
that's my
me.
first doc, and actually, it's coming out on a 10th anniversary Blu-ray right now,
Wow,
which
cool.
is crazy to me
Congratulations.
because, like, I showed you my video collection in my basement.
Yes.
I have like 4 different versions of Clerks and Mallrats, so it's like crazy to have like a 10th anniversary of anything. But yeah, it's Mick Foley, who's a professional wrestler. He's
Yeah.
in it. Morgan Spurlock was our executive producer. We follow people who portray Santa Claus and look like Santa all year round.
Wow. That's
And we follow them
so cool.
from like the beginning of the year and see what it's like building up to Christmas.
That is so genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a gay Santa, a swinger Santa. There's a guy who legally changed his name to Santa.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. And there's like amalgamated order of real bearded Santas, and they don't get along with the fraternal order of real bearded Santas. There's such an underbelly. It's crazy. I actually am an honorary amalgamated order of real bearded Santas, and an associate's degree in Santa Clausology is the highest education I actually have.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I
What do
didn't
you
go
do
to
with the
college.
beard though? What's this?
Oh yeah, that's just
What the hell
I
is
don't have a
that?
good chin. I have to kind of hide.
No, but I mean, do you grow it out? What is this? You said the amalgamated versus
Oh well,
the-
it's just an honorary thing. I'm not really a Santa, but
Oh my god, Tommy, that's
Joe got so disappointed. He said, Wait, I
love
thought you were
Santa
actually
Claus.
Santa.
no, I know some of the rules. Like
No, now, have you
that's
ever
great.
met the real Santa Claus? That's what Joe
Yeah.
wants to know.
well, the great thing is, it's
There
like
is really Santa Claus.
there is this thing where it's like these are all flawed men. We all are, but for that minute your kid is on their lap, they're perfect, and that's the true magic of Christmas.
It
you know.
is. It is.
So I mean, and Mick
Got
Foley, who's this professional wrestler, gets thrown off the Hell in the Cell.
Mm.
He learns how to become Santa in our film, and he's got the greatest heart in the world. And
that is so.
he shares
cool.
this amazing moment with his kid in the movie, and it's great. It's like I love it because it's like a lot of our docs now we sit them down, we talk to someone, we're talking about the past, we're talking about this,
Yeah.
Whereas this we're like following them, and it's like it's just so much fun to see, especially following this one guy Russell. He's like a cranky old man. He's always cursing and farting. It's just a lot of fun, I mean,
Oh my god,
we don't have any of the farts on camera, but
That is so
but,
cool. Do you know that when we were kids, and I obviously still to this day believe in Santa Claus, but when we were kids, Santa came, and we had the privilege of Santa coming to our house for a
Yeah.
couple of house visits.
that's what my kids do now.
Yeah, and
Know
it was the real Coca-Cola Santa Claus, who
Whoa.
was Santa all year. Now again, he lived and breathed Santa Claus. His wife was Mrs. Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a green caravan with wood, pine green. He literally had everything custom. He had the real beard, the eyes. I mean, everything was to scale. This man lived and breathed Santa Claus. He was Santa Claus.
Yeah.
He would come, and it was brilliant because I guess my mom would.
Well, we got lucky because of the whole entertainment industry connection.
Right. Well, yeah. We were able to
actually
meet him.
ran into the
Right.
Coca-Cola.
Right. He was
Santa.
on one of the shows that we did.
Yeah, exactly.
My mom met him and said, and he did make
He played
house
Santa
calls.
on one of our shows.
Right.
So
Oh,
that's
nice.
how
And he
we
did make
met
house
him.
calls. What was brilliant though is that when you're a kid, you're going through that brackish period of like, do I believe, do I not
Yeah.
believe in the magic
Yeah.
of Christmas and all that amazing stuff? and he would want to know everything about us, right?
Yeah.
So he would come and he would spend 2 hours at our home and go through everything with us. And when we were talking to him, he'd be like, "So, Maddie, I hear that your math having a little bit of problems with the division." And Matt would be like, "No, yeah, I am. I am, Santa.
Yeah.
Well, keep working on that." And
Yeah.
I noticed that you put a little something on your list this year. I mean, it was
Yeah.
It was incredible.
the most
yeah.
magical
Like,
moments
he really took
ever.
it to heart.
Yes.
Really
And what's really
hard.
cool is that years later, I was able to find a tremendous Santa Claus. And I had him come and do the same thing for my girls, which was so cool. And he did the same thing.
Nice.
But it's amazing when they live it and breathe it, and it's all year round. I mean, they literally are Santa Claus. It's really cool.
Real quick, the Santa you're talking about now is this him, Bob Girardi?
Yes.
Yes.
How'd you know that?
He used your name as a name drop when I met him.
Santa name drop me?
Hey, all right.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
it.
Bob, it was tremendous. It was tremendous. I don't know if he's still with us.
That's what-
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, it was during COVID. Yeah. Not to bring it down, but yeah, great dude, great guy. It was 2021 when he passed away,
Wow.
or late 2022, 2020
Wow.
rather. But yeah, Santa. So we followed
was
5
amazing.
Santas. Yeah. Well, I
His
know because
belt
he
was
did.
amazing.
He did Glendale Galleria,
Correct.
and I remember him
And
saying,
then he did the Americana.
Yes, yes. Well, in the movie, you see him there, and because Americana gives him like a hotel or like
Yeah.
an apartment,
Yes.
and he just lives right there. He's sipping his coffee.
Yes.
He's like the
Oh.
farmer's market starting, you know.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But
Oh.
like he mentioned you, so I was trying to it's 10 years ago, but I was like, I think that's our thing. Yeah,
That
Bob Girardi.
is, Tommy, what a small world, man.
Well, I was a Brian Fortuna.
Well,
you
wait,
know,
what's
Bob
going on with
Girardi.
this? We gotta bring this up.
Hold on. So,
So-
yeah, right before we
Let me
start,
give you a little
yeah.
backstory.
Can't
Joe
believe it. I'm
did.
still recovering from the Santa Claus. Man.
Oh,
so sorry.
sorry.
Wow.
We're trying to move on.
Well,
here.
I am
know.
Santa Claus.
Can I
He
just
lives
take a
for-
moment?
And I am Santa Claus. He lives forever.
He
So,
does?
Yeah.
Go.
Oh,
He-
there's
he's
no
a
doubt
great-
about it. Some of the greatest memories growing up for my children and for myself, witnessing them talking to Santa like that. It was really awesome. Anyway, he was tremendous. Very similar to the guy that we grew up with. Knew everything, took it so much to heart, really had a great heart, and really treated the kids so fantastic. Anyway,
When we
enough of
lived
that.
out here, he would come to we'd find a house that was close because we were in Santa Clarita for a minute, and then
Yeah.
he was out further, Whittier.
okay.
And
Yes, it was. That's right.
and so we would find like a house in the middle, and he would come, and he was the best.
The best.
One time he actually
You
got
have kids, yeah?
yeah. My son is 8, Miles, and my daughter River is 4. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
cool.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
I have 18, 14, and almost 2.
Oh wow.
Are those did they make those?
Well, yeah. She
Yeah.
did, yeah.
Look at this, dude. I got my bracelets. This
Nice.
is
That's
from Libby,
awesome.
and this is from Charlie. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Anyway.
But yeah, these guys they just really so McFoley is our kid Santa now, and
Really?
he'll
Please
write.
tell me you said Nick Foley.
Oh yeah, Mick
Yeah.
Foley,
Yeah.
Mankind, Dude Love.
Yeah.
He'll write
No
letters
way.
and calligraphy every year,
So
oh hey
cool.
Miles, hey River,
Are
blah
you
blah blah. Yeah, and
serious?
send videos. It's the best. It's
That's super cool.
in these movies we get to play Trojan horse, and
Mm-hmm.
yes, it's it's silly, there's a Santa doing this, Santa doing that, but it's it's about identity and about community, and these guys they just one of our Santas lost his house, lost his job, he fell into depression, but the joy of being Santa kind of helped him get through all this stuff. So it really becomes their everything.
Look,
Wow,
the
man.
last thing I'll say about this is that look, there's always this age old argument, I've heard parents, and they have a right to say it. I'm going to be honest with my kids. I'm not going to lie to my kids. I'm going to.
What's the fun in
my,
honesty?
my kids are asking. I'm going to tell my kids the truth, and I was like, I get that, and I'm very honest with my kids, and I always have been. But there is something really magical about youth and imagination.
Yes.
And you only get such a finite amount of time before the world comes crashing down on you, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And you're going to spend the majority of your life in the real world where you wish you could imagine things. You try to go to sleep imagining things that are not real because you wish you'd go back to that time. So I feel like as long as you could do that and give that gift to your children and let them live in that brilliance of imagination, right? I feel like, man, that is our job, to give them as much of that as we can give them.
Yeah.
So I'm so thankful to hear you say that because I did that for my kids. My mom to this day still will not mention that there's not Santa Claus.
Yeah.
She says, I don't know, I can't, I'm not talking about it, And I do the same thing with my girls. And the magic of the holidays, but just the magic of imagination, I feel is really important.
Well, like Mick says, it's what's better is the fact that there is this mythical creature in the North Pole delivering things flying around, all that
Yeah.
stuff, or that these people dedicate their lives to this thing to make your kid happy. You know,
That's super
Yep.
cool.
yeah.
Yep, it's awesome, dude. That is really cool.
You know what's weird?
What?
I'm trying to think back to it. I think I started to know. I mean, I'm sorry, I might upset you,
Whoa,
Joe.
whoa.
I think I started to know that Santa Claus
It's
wasn't
funny you said
necessarily a real thing versus
Who are you, bro?
a
symbol?
love and a symbol. From the time I was like 4 years old, dude.
A love and a symbol. What do you see,
I-
Prince?
yeah.
What's going on? He was not a symbol, you bastard. He's a man. He lives in. He's a man.
He's
lives
a
in
man.
man, for God's sake. He's a man.
No, I mean,
Lives in the North
I can't
Pole,
even
he's got
remember.
reindeer and
I'm trying
Mrs.
to think back.
Claus.
I don't remember believing, and I was young, like maybe a toddler.
Shame on you.
All right,
We're
remember
not
mom
brothers.
and dad? They would go.
Matt, you're out. Tommy, you're in.
Yeah, they would go to great lengths to put like
yeah.
like lint and stuff near
Oh,
the
snow,
fireplace and snow.
lint.
and
His
they'd
a little bit of his coat would
bite
get
the
stuck.
cookies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have so many brilliant notes that my girls wrote to Santa Claus on Christmas Eve, and then he responded. And he would eat some of the cookies, and obviously loved the cookies, and thanked them and said, Rudy and the boys love the carrots, and oh my gosh, some of my greatest memories.
You know, one Christmas, Dad must have known that I was already kind of trying to poke holes in the theory.
Skeptical bastard.
Yeah, and so I was waiting up to see if I could hear the reindeer hooves on the roof, and I think he was throwing rocks up on the roof. 'Cause I was like,
Awesome.
I hear it! I hear it!
It's awesome.
That's great.
He's
That's
real!
That's awesome.
It
Yeah,
is.
I know.
It's awesome.
There's a place, Santa Claus, Indiana. That's a real town. There's like Santa
Really?
Claus police officers, a Santa Claus
What?
liquor store.
No
yeah.
way, dude.
Oh yeah.
No way.
Santa Claus, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Santa Claus.
Sam, we
police
must do
officers?
research and
Well,
find
yeah,
some
because it's like
pictures.
there's a town called Santa Claus. So in theory, there's the Santa Claus Police Department.
Oh my.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do a movie there.
Well, we
I mean, but you got to do like an actual movie there. Like some guy
know.
gets transferred to Santa Claus.
oh, that's funny.
Like the anti-Christmas guy.
Yeah.
Imagine he's like, you're never gonna believe. He's a Grinch, right? So he doesn't want
That's
to
a great
celebrate.
idea.
His wife goes, honey, come on, maybe this year we give the kids. Look, you know how I feel like Christmas. It's blah blah blah. It's blah 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 blah. He's like, we got a job transfer. He's like, oh, where are we going? Santa Claus. Honey, be serious. No, we're going to Santa Claus. Hey,
There's a candy cane castle there. There's
Come
the
on.
Eagle liquor store. You know.
Wow.
going to Santa Claus.
Kind of brilliant.
Wow.
Oh my gosh! All right, you didn't hear that. We're gonna edit that out of this episode. It's already been trademarked and copywritten. I'm sorry.
You see it on Hallmark and
Yeah.
Lifetime
What?
next year.
GAC already greenlit it.
heck is
Great
this?
American Movie Channel already greenlit it. Whatever it's called. It's GAC, right? Isn't
I
it called
think
GAC?
so.
That's a terrible.
Wait.
Great American Channel.
Oh, I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about Gak like from Nickelodeon.
No, I wish.
That's what my brain triggers
It's
for
similar.
sure.
It's similar. No, GAC. GAC is Great American Channel,
I think.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anyway, they're kind of like Hallmark adjacent.
Yeah.
They're Hallmark,
Yeah.
but a little more like kind of old school Hallmark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to get back to it, we have a connection.
Yes.
Brian Fortuna. Now, Joe did a show called Dancing
Many
with the
moons
Stars.
ago.
Many moons. What was that? In 2006. And there was one guy there who we all kind of related to because he was from Philly.
Well, the show was really big that year. Okay, it was the biggest year. It was the biggest
What?
year.
Who are you?
It was the biggest
Very
year.
big show.
It was the
very
biggest
big
year
show.
the show had ever experienced, and to this date, I think has
Oh,
ever experienced.
jeez.
So they launched their first national tour.
That's right.
And they've gone
Oh,
on
yeah.
these tours, but not like they did that year.
Yeah.
This year was so big
Yeah.
that
You guys were
literally,
doing like Staples Center.
we
when
sold
it
out
was
Staples Center
Yeah,
3 nights in a
crypto.
row in about 45 minutes.
.com,
Now it's
yeah.
crypto. I prefer Staples. I think crypto is very strange.
I
but
prefer crypto.
But anyway, and all I'll tell you, it was so big that, for instance, Jennifer Lopez had built this incredible bus, right? And then I think she got pregnant or whatever and couldn't go out on tour. And I got her bus, brand new, to go out on tour.
I remember that bus.
And it was myself.
And he liked it because it said J-Lo, and he just figured it was for
I changed
Joey.
the- yeah.
you just took the
Lo.
O and it
That's
was
funny.
JL.
Yeah, JL
Perfect.
baby, JL baby. Can you remove that O, please? Thank
It's just a little low anyway.
you. Yeah, it was sick bus. Matter of fact, they treated us so good.
Joey just squint his eyes, and it looked like a little dot.
Yeah, it did. It did. Thank you. It was a period.
Yeah.
It was a JL
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I love that bus so much. Oh my God, that bus was incredible. I mean, it had flat screens.
Joe
and
loved
steam
it so much
showers.
that when the tour was over, it took them 2 weeks to get him off of it.
Yeah,
Joe was
I
pulling.
I started to squat.
Yeah, he was pulling
Yeah.
the squatter
Squatters'
laws.
rights.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was myself, Joey Fatone,
Oh.
Joey McIntyre, Drew Lachey, Emmett Smith. We all went out on tour together, and we took this entire most of our professional pros that we had danced with, because that year going to the finals was myself, Mario, and Emmett. It was like a really very challenging sort of competitive season, which is why it worked. Anyway, they added a whole slew of dancers that were not on the show to the tour because it was a big show. And Brian Fortuna was one of the dancers that
He's a
made
ballroom
the tour.
dancer.
And then, because he was really good, and then ended up being on the show. He was so good
Yeah,
on
yeah,
tour,
yeah.
they put him on the show. So anyway,
Is that how you guys met him?
That's how we met.
Oh,
man.
wow.
they were out with me on the road a couple
Yeah, I
of
would
times.
come. He had a our niece Charlie. It was a baby.
Right.
So in order to see her, I would go and
Spend a
go
couple weeks on the road and stuff.
Yeah.
And Brian, being from, Philly, East
Yeah, we
Coast,
became
Jersey
friends
guy,
instantly.
he would be like, I love you guys, grew up with you guys.
Oh,
da, da, da.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, he just became sort of like, one of the guys. So
Yeah, one of
Did
our
he ever
cousins.
blow up around you guys? He's got a temper.
Oh, he's got. He does. Still to this day, I talked to him
yeah.
not that
I'm
long
a
ago.
liver, not a fighter, but
It's a flip of a coin.
Yeah,
with
you never
Fortuna.
know what side of the coin you're gonna get.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, he got upset on the phone a couple weeks ago. Yeah, he was
Really?
Well, you got to think, like, growing up in the 90s and you're this ballroom dancer, people tease you, And so he's got this, like, I'll fight you sort of attitude.
Yeah,
like,
he does.
Like
I'll
instant.
fight ya.
It's like
I'll
an
take you
instant.
down.
But like, so like I
But
didn't,
first I'm going to do a quick step.
like, we didn't go to this. So we grew up in the same area.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's great.
We didn't grow up, like, we grew up in the same area, same town, but we didn't go to the same school. But we just knew him as the guy who was a dancer, And like, I remember him getting an altercation with one of my friends, and the cops were like, "Don't mess with Brian. He's a ballroom dancer." And
The
it was like-
cops said that?
Yeah. And, but Brian was like always ready to fight,
Yeah,
So,
he's
so
always
when I
ready
lived
to
out
go.
here, like I reached out to him, because he lived out here then, but now he's back in Jersey, and
Yeah.
like we tried to like meet up, but like he's got a kid now and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff. But
yeah.
he's a fun guy.
He sure is.
But I do get a kick out. Like I seen him like just like someone like beeped at him. He's like, yo.
Yeah, exactly. And so I actually saw him. I was back in Philly doing a
It's like an
show.
old-fashioned guy like this.
Yeah, he is
like,
very old fashioned. For sure.
I don't want to take you down.
No, but that's funny.
I say this out of love, Like,
No, we
it
love
is.
the
I love
crap
Brian.
out of it. We're
Brian,
busting
I
his
love-
balls right
love-
now. We got
love
nothing
Brian
but love for
Fortuna.
Brian. And so I went to Philly.
see
I had
how
a
it is,
live
guys.
show in
I see
Philly.
how
I was there for that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pod Meets World.
Yes, exactly. And after the show, I got to call Brian, So Brian comes over and he's like, I'm not in the best mood, I gotta tell you. And I was like, all right. And he's like, you better be careful, man. I'm itching for a fight tonight. And I was like, well, maybe we're not going to go out to dinner. I was like, you want to just go to the hotel lobby? Let's just hang out at the hotel.
That's funny. That's a great way to lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was how we met. I'm not in the best of spirits.
Oh my gosh. That's so
I
funny.
might get into a fight. And then sure enough, we're walking down the street and he's just eyeing guys. I'm like, Brian,
He does-
stop it.
Yeah.
We're not getting into a fight.
I don't know why.
What is wrong with
He's
you?
like the rooster on the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone gonna mess with me?
But he has that old-fashioned look. Like he
It
looks like he
is.
would be in like Boardwalk Empire.
Absolutely.
He
Like
does.
Frank
He does.
Sinatra.
He kind
Oh
of
my
looks
God,
like
yeah.
he's like a leaned out, like DiCaprio-esque.
Yeah, but
He
like
kinda has
even
a good
more
pick.
40s in a way, like
Yeah.
50s in
Yeah.
a way. He's got a classic
does look
old
like
school.
Sinatra.
Yeah,
He's got a
like-
cross between like Sinatra and like Montgomery Clift.
There you go.
But you
Yes.
grow up as that, like the ballroom dancer. You have like a particular way of standing and
You do.
presenting
Oh, you
yourself.
do.
So
They all
yes.
do.
They all do. In fact, from hanging out with Brian, now when I see clips of the other ballroom
Oh, yeah,
dancers,
I
just
get
from the
it.
way they stand
Yeah.
and the way they do their thing, it's like it's a ballroom dancer.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
can clearly see it. All
Well, they-
of them.
well, they've
From
been-
Derek
they-
Huff, they all stand
the elite-
the same way.
The elite,
It's crazy.
the elite ballroom dancers have been training, for
Their
their whole
whole
lives.
Posture and stance.
Yeah,
they
to be a
present
specific
themselves.
way, so
Yep.
you can kind of
And
call
it's
it,
weird because they're
see
like
it from a mile away.
you can see like the fluidity in their joints. Too,
Yeah.
because
Well, yeah,
they,
yeah,
like
yeah.
the way that
The
they
way he
stand.
throws a punch,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's-
Yeah.
Put 'em up. I guess something like that. Put 'em up. Put 'em up.
But
Yeah,
I think
like
his
a
mom
little
was a dancer.
Cagney.
Yeah.
His
She is-
mom,
they,
yeah.
they had a dance studio,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they still do.
Yeah.
He's
They even
the
owned
best.
she owned like a competition, like one of those
Oh, really?
competitions that everyone would fly to on the East Coast type of thing. Because you have to have like a license for them. I've learned all this ballroom dancing
he
stuff.
did some great work too with people in wheelchairs too. Didn't
Oh,
he?
yeah.
Wheelchairs,
Yeah.
which
That's
is
his
really
passion.
brilliant.
That's like his
stuff.
passion.
Really
Yeah.
brilliant.
Good
Really
dude.
brilliant.
And then he
Yeah.
was on Strictly. He went to London.
Went to
did
London.
Strictly and
Oh,
a bunch
yeah.
of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was down in the West End. I remember when I was talking to him, he was down there doing a show on the West End. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm headlining this show on the West End. Just a Philly kid. I grew up
remember
in a little
that-
Philly kid.
remember- remember that-
Wait,
remember
hold
that-
on. What'd you say? You want to fight? Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to fight?
Remember that story that he
So
told us
good.
where somebody stole his watch?
Oh my goodness!
Okay, he had bought- he had
Honestly,
bought
we
himself-
we could literally have a whole season on Brian
I
Fortuna.
think Brian's gonna have to be on the
This is
show.
so
Yes.
funny.
We
He
gotta
had
get
bought
Brian out
himself-
on the show.
I
He
know.
bought himself because he was
Tim
doing
said that
well.
yesterday.
Yeah,
He
we
was
gotta
doing
get him
well,
on
and
the
like
show.
a lot of guys, and I can attest because I love watches. he bought himself a Breitling or some kind
It was
of
a
nice watch.
Breitling, yeah.
And it got lifted.
It got stolen.
Okay.
In the West End, or wherever he was
Oh.
living in London, and his
So-
apartment got broken into, everything got robbed, they stole his
Wow.
watch.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, good.
That's it,
You
that's
know
it.
the story better than me because then
Well,
remember he went into a pawn shop.
months.
Well, no, months. I think it was like a year later
Yeah,
or something.
year
He
or
went,
two later.
He's walking down the block
Well-
and he sees in the pawn shop window
Yeah.
his watch.
No,
And
he said it looks just
Just
like,
like
my
it.
watch.
Yeah.
It was a special edition. They made a few of them. It wasn't
sure.
but it was limited. So he was like, and he always wanted to replace it, but he was like, I'm just not going to do it. And he saw it. He's like, oh my god,
This looks just like
this
my
is
watch.
like my watch. So he goes in there.
Dude.
It was his watch.
It turns
Sad.
out he
Awesome.
had like the box.
Yeah,
still
he had the serial
with the
number.
serial number.
That's
and
crazy.
called the cops, and the cops were able to go, and they got the
They
watch.
got
He got his watch back.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like,
When
is
does
nuts?
that ever
I
happen?
know.
And this is weird. He's got some weird.
Now,
okay.
since then, that
wild?
watch
That's
was
so
stolen
wild.
again. No, I'm just
Right,
kidding.
right,
I'm
Now
just
wait,
kidding.
Brian
Yeah.
Fortuna. So the last name Fortuna, it's
Lucky, right? Yeah.
Lucky.
Now, here's another crazy story with Brian. My best friend that I met when I first came out here at like 11 or 12 years old. He's
Is this the Miracle in 34, like the Miracle guy, or no? No,
kind of no,
Oh.
but they didn't know each other, Brian and my best friend, and they met once, I think, in crossing. But Brian calls me in
Oh wait, that's
It
right.
was
Where
like-
were they?
Greece or some random place.
Where were
Oh
they?
yeah. I
Brian
remember
calls
this.
me and he's like, "You're not gonna believe
Wales
this."
or something. Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
"Guess who I'm sitting next to?" And he hands the phone to my best
Yeah.
friend, who never has only traveled like once to Europe ever.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was in
Yeah.
Europe,
Yeah.
and he's sitting at the same pub
That's
next
right.
to Brian. So
That's
Brian
right.
has this weird
Yeah.
like
That's
thing
right.
with him,
Yeah.
where like he'll meet people that you know, and he'll like call you, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
I thought you were
so-
gonna say the guy from was it 29th Street? I keep always thinking it's Miracle, but it's 29th Street.
Yeah,
that guy. Yeah. That's a
yeah.
great story.
Great story.
Joe Pesci, right?
Oh
Something
yeah.
like that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Amazing.
I don't know if we can. I can say this.
Well, you could say
If I
it.
can say this
We
story,
don't,
or if
we,
it'll
we
make
don't,
the
we,
cut.
we don't have to air
But-
it. It won't have to
but
make the
there-
final cut.
This
We
is
can have
many.
Sam do a little snippy,
This is
snippy.
over. I mean, hopefully there's a statute of limitations on.
He's
what
already
we
got
can-
his pen out. Like
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
I might have to cut this.
Yeah.
Look, he literally
So-
look, he's got the book.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, I might have to cut
Yeah.
this.
Many,
Have to cut
many,
this.
many years ago.
Oh God,
Uh,
Andy, please.
Brian, we were racing home, and there's a fire hydrant at the corner of the street.
Oh God.
Oh my
and
goodness.
you can go look at it. To this day, this is like 15 years ago. It's tilted almost at a 90-degree angle, and it's from Brian and his Mercedes, and he.
Well, I guess we're finally letting the cat out of the bag
Yeah.
because for 15 years I've lied to all my
Yeah,
neighbors
yeah.
saying that I didn't know.
But they've all changed now, so it's
that's
okay.
true.
They're all
They've
new,
all
except the guy
moved.
that still lives in the fire hydrant
Yeah,
house. Anyway, so long story short, is Brian came careening around a corner and misjudged it because he got a brand new Mercedes, and
He was trying to drift. Let's
he's a
be
fast
honest.
driver. Yeah,
he was
he likes
trying to
to, you know-
drift the corner.
You've just seen Fast and Furious
I'm not
Tokyo.
kidding.
Drift.
Yeah,
I'm
literally.
not kidding.
See if I can make this C300.
smashes
do
into the fire hydrant. It
God.
pops. Water starts coming up like underneath his car.
Into the car.
Into the car. So we all get out, and he's freaking out. So then we're screaming and running, and
This is
the best part.
Somehow-
So wait, hold on. So Matt's like, I'm gonna go talk to the neighbor, and Brian's like, I gotta get my car out of here. He's freaking out that he's gonna get in trouble or something. So he just kind of drives away, and the car is toasted. Lights, smoke, whatever. So Brian's missing.
Now, let me finish.
Wait,
this
no, I
story,
gotta.
please. No, because I was there. And
I
you
gotta,
weren't.
no, I gotta finish it. Hold on.
You weren't.
I think I
there.
started before
Wait a
you.
minute. Yeah, I
actually.
think
You
this was
weren't
my.
before
Can I take
How
it
about
from
I
the-
tell
can
the
I take it
story?
from the cops? Because
Yeah.
that's where you
Yeah.
weren't there.
No, I
you.
wanna-
Stop at a starting point, let him finish, and then you guys. It's like a relay race. Give him the
Yeah.
baton, let him run a leg, but finish your story first. Go
Well, I
ahead.
can't finish the story because now Matt wants to hijack it.
All right, well, finish it. Go ahead, just finish it. Finish it. See what I have to deal with?
It's hard to tell
People-
stories.
brothers,
All
right?
the problems in the world, these guys are.
Long
fighting
story
about.
short, we can't get hold of Brian. We can't. He's not answering his phone. So I get in the car and I start to look for him, and I see him running down Ventura Boulevard, full sprint, like three.
No.
Yeah, full sprint. And he gets in the car. He's like, I stashed the car. I'm like, what? He's like, I stashed the car. Just go. Just get me out of here. Just get me out of here.
It's true.
So wait, I take him to Jerry's Deli.
Yeah.
And when Jerry's Deli used to be there, and where all the late night eatery, right?
Yeah.
That's where everyone go. And we walk in and we sit. They sit us down at a booth, and we look up, and we're directly across the table from 5 cops.
Oh my God.
And Brian's like, oh, they know, which
Oh
they
my
don't
God.
know. Anyway, meanwhile, so the cops.
I'm there. They're not there. I'm the only. I'm left.
I took him to Jerry's to
Yeah.
get a bike because he was having a breakdown.
What kind of bagel?
I'm the only one. So I'm the only one there, and the cops are, grilling me. The neighbors are like, literally, my neighbor goes, "You know who did this? You know who did?" I swear, screaming at me the whole day. It's kind of a mess. I'm like,
Go to bed. I don't know anything.
I was like, you know what? I don't know. I was not
where the acting chops come in, right?
Totally, yeah. I was totally, covering for my buddy. And the cop has his flashlight, and he clicks his flashlight down to the road, and he starts to like follow, and there's a water trail, and they walk down the block and find where he stashed the car,
like, literally 60,
because there was
70
literally it was
feet.
leaking water and chemicals all the way.
Oh, come on.
Anybody could have found it.
Come on.
You didn't need a bloodhound for this tracking. you just needed
on.
you just needed like half an eye.
I didn't know
and
that.
You could have found the stash.
All the
car.
liquid-
One weird branch.
All
What
this
is this?
weird liquid and stuff, and they just
Dude,
walked right to the car
yeah,
and
you
found
could,
it.
literally, it was a track just right to it.
That's so
Oh
good.
gosh! So the cops were like, "Is this the car?" It's like, looks like it. Yeah, I think that's the car.
Did he get in
Oh
trouble?
my goodness!
Nope.
Even
No.
with seeing the car?
So they
When he take the license plate
they
out?
impounded the car,
Impounded
but
the
they
car.
didn't have a driver.
Uh-huh.
So a couple
Funny
days,
story
a
is-
couple days later.
Funny thing is, wait, the Breitling was in his glove box, and the cops took the Breitling,
Yeah.
and he had to fight to get his
Yeah.
watch back.
Again, the same watch.
The same watch.
The same watch.
And
It's
you
true.
said he's lucky?
Yeah. Well, dude. Well, he didn't get. He
You
got,
didn't get in trouble, yeah.
and he got the
He
watch
didn't get in
back.
trouble.
Yeah,
and he got
They-
the watch
they-
back.
He said, yeah, that he had an accident and he couldn't deal with it. So then he left the car and was going to deal with it the next day. And they were like, "What? Did you hit?
There's
He's like,
no
I didn't hit
proof.
anybody.
There's no proof.
I just messed my car up, so I parked it, went
Yeah,
home,
There's no proof.
came back the next day." And they were like, "Oh shit! All right, well."
He never got nothing.
Nothing.
I mean,
nothing really
literally
bad
not even a
happened, right?
fine.
Just-
No,
he
nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't have done that. Like,
No,
Brian's
no,
a really
no.
good. He's a good dude. He just didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was late at night, and he just didn't want
But
to
I
deal
could
with
see
it.
him, like, that's just like his like way of like, just like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah,
I would love to picture him running down the street,
Oh my
like, just like,
God.
overly
sprint,
dramatic,
dude.
you know,
Yes, dude.
doing some like leaps and whatever.
That's so good. Like, Brian.
Good. Just
He
say
did a triple axel. It was incredible.
he was just jiving.
Well, I just love that he's trying to be low key
jive,
and
jive,
like
jive.
he's full sprint. Like there's nobody
There's
else
no hiding
full
that.
sprinting down Ventura Boulevard to sweat at like 11:30 at night.
that
Like,
is
you know what I mean?
hilarious.
Midnight. It's like this is the only.
Yeah, if anybody
guy.
was watching from
Yeah.
like a bird's eye view, they would have known exactly who and how it happened.
What's up with this guy?
Just the words, I stashed the car. Like, that's like, who says that?
It's like a movie. It's like a
Yeah.
60s
Yeah.
movie.
Brian, no, that's the thing about Brian.
Yeah.
He,
Stash the
he
car.
pulls you into movie-like excursions.
So true.
I can't, and that's the one we can tell. I mean, and that's you know what I mean. Like this
Yeah.
is
You gotta
Oh
keep
my
that in. That's a
gosh.
funny story.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
Good
It's
stuff.
wild.
Yeah,
Wow.
great stuff.
Well, so there's other. So where can people find the house from?
Oh, yeah.
So it's on the Maximum Effort channel on Fubo,
Okay, cool.
but also on iTunes, Amazon, Google.
Sweet.
Thehousefrom.com has all the information.
But
Yeah.
you also did the Bill Murray stories.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that was on Netflix for a minute, but now it's on Peacock.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bill
Wow.
Murray's our,
Yeah.
my hero.
Yeah, it's
Like, literally.
That's like when we get to play around with like living in the moment and being present. It's a fun movie that plays like South by and BFI.
Cool.
Bill Murray
Very cool.
stories. Yeah.
And I love you. You hate me.
yeah, that's the Barney one.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we got
Amazing.
to play around with like where hate comes from.
They're bringing Barney back.
Yeah, I actually take credit for that. I really, really do. Like
You hear that? I mean, but he is coming back. They're
Yeah.
like doing a whole new
Mhm.
thing.
It's out now. It's an animated.
Oh, is
thing.
it? It's out now?
The
Okay.
voice is really weird, but like,
He's a little scary now.
I mean, it's always kind of scary.
What's wrong? What's wrong with
Now
the
now
voice?
he's really scary.
What's wrong with the voice?
Listen,
Because
I'm a
honestly, like-
reptile guy. I love dinosaurs, and I could never get into Barney.
Yeah,
Just-
so like
no.
I watched this video. It
Why
was
could
like,
they made it more real?
Did
Why
you
did
ever,
they
did you ever
make it
see
so
Death
weird?
to Smoochie?
oh my
Oh,
god,
I love that
great
movie. I really love that
movie.
movie.
It's so good.
I
Death
know.
to
So
Smoochie,
good.
check it out. Very
Danny
offbeat.
DeVito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
directed
good.
it. So good.
Amazing.
But yeah,
I adored
there was
it.
this like 1993 newscast from Nebraska of a college that was doing a Barney bashing event, and it's like there was all these college kids like just beating up Barney, ripping up Barney.
A pinata.
Yeah. And at the end, the newscaster was like, "Well, that's the future of our country right there." And I was like, "Oh my god, we're living in that future now. Like, let's explore where hate comes from with the simplest form. You know, like we even entered a former neo-Nazi in this. You know, like we're like talking about hate. You know, because people just hated Barney. Like they just couldn't get past it. It wasn't made for them. You know.
Yeah.
you. You hate me.
Yeah. So it's fine. It was
They
just
just cut
Peacock.
to Arnold Schwarzenegger from the scene from Predator when they're mowing down the cars.
I'm here. Why don't you kill me? I'm here. And you said this is what? One of your partners on this is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. We were very lucky
So
with
cool.
that. Yeah.
That is so cool.
And Ethan Umbre, we brought him back to the Can't Hardly Wait house, and he's amazing.
Wow.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, who doesn't love
Very
Ethan?
cool.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ethan's great. That's awesome, man. Well, I can't wait to watch this. I think everybody needs to go watch this. We all love
Little
famous-
nostalgia,
Yeah.
everybody.
Absolutely.
Go have some fun. Check out The House From. Our buddy
Fantastic.
Tommy. Thanks for being
Yes.
here.
Thank you.
dude.
Thank you
This
so
was
much.
so much fun.
Do you say Tommy Avallone or Tommy Avallone?
Avallone. I'm like,
Avallone.
I'm not really Italian. My dad's like that selective
You're
Italian
not
where
really
he's like,
Italian. What
he goes,
the hell?
"What's
You
that?
son of
Get
a-
that
God
out of
damn
here.
it.
Get
no,
out of
like,
the show.
oh,
Get out of our room."
I'm Italian, but I say like mozzarella. Like my dad's like mozzarella. You know, like he's
Right,
like,
so
yeah,
no, we're like you.
Yeah, we're like you.
I'm very Italian. but, like, I just
Americanized
don't.
Italian.
No, no,
Talk
no, no.
Italian.
No,
Very-
people always ask me, do you speak Italian? I was like, no, we didn't. We
Yeah.
never
No.
learned Italian.
No.
I learned like half of one song in Italian. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Mama. You know that song?
No, I know
Vamos.
Dominic the donkey.
Dominic. Oh, Dominic the donkey.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Of course. That old classic.
The Spit Take, classic comedy. The Spit Take. We actually did, believe it or not, Matt and I did a Andy Williams Christmas special, Easter special in Rome.
That's right.
Oh.
And I performed at the Villa d'Este and everything, and I had to learn an Italian song, and
Oh,
it was
nice.
that Mamma Santa do Felice,
Okay.
vive lontano perché
What's
la
the,
mia condone dice per più bel
What's the
giorno
song?
per me.
it's a song from Goonies?
What?
What's the song?
Oh,
Yeah.
that he sings at the window.
That's what we need
Oh,
to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, that was
That's
great.
what I want to learn. That
It's
song.
puree.
They're doing a new Goonies.
No,
That's not true.
It's not true.
Yeah, it's not. That's fake.
Yeah,
It's
sorry.
Fake
true.
news.
No, it's,
No.
it's,
It's
it's
true.
It's not true.
Fake
No.
news.
Why?
See what happens?
Yeah.
It's like the Santa Claus thing. You got to be careful with Joe.
I wanted
gotta
to
be
be real
careful.
too,
Everybody's
dude.
back on board.
sorry.
Spielberg's
Yeah.
directing it. Don't
No.
touch me, Tommy.
No.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining us this
Yes.
week. That was a fast hour. My goodness. The House From, it's out everywhere. Check it out now. Tommy, this is awesome, dude. It got
so
you
much.
Philly.
Yeah,
we
being
really
here,
appreciate
dude.
it, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Fellow
man.
Paisan, good luck, man. Fortuna, if you're out there, what's up,
Yeah,
buddy?
we love you,
Yeah.
Fortuna. Come on the pod. Answer my
Yeah.
calls.
Why don't you run back here? You could be on the pod.
Answer
all
my
right?
calls, Fortuna.
Coming to the pod, Joe.
Love you, buddy.
I'm coming to the pod.
I texted him right beforehand.
Did
He
you?
must-
Call him. We'll call him when we get off the air.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching the Brotherly Love Pod. Please go check out our YouTube, like, and subscribe. And we'll see you next Friday.
God bless everybody. We'll see you next week right
Later.
here in the Brotherly Love Pod.
Bye.
So long. Ciao, Bella.
Ciao.
Hey, what's up, everybody? The
Lawrence brothers are here.
Thank you so much for enjoying this week's episode of the Brotherly Love Pod.
And if you want more of this show, check out our premium feed on Supercast.
That's right, where you'll see ad-free episodes, monthly AMAs, behind-the-scene content, and so much more.
That's brotherlylove.supercast.com to join.
Check out our link tree and subscribe on all platforms.
We'll see you all
Next week!